we've got the recording going. This is Dee Reinhardt. I am doing our CBO Technical Assistance webinar. Today is May 25th, and it is 3:02 p.m. So welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Take a moment to check in and make sure that we know that you're here from your organization. Today what we want to talk about is a couple of things that we know that we need for you to do. One of those things is to make sure that you are getting scheduling going on your program. So I'm going to do a quick little demonstration so that you can see it. We also want to talk about the progress page, and we want to talk about the ISTEPs to get people into their plans. So I'm going to give you just one more second to make sure that we're all checked in, people are getting in. There are documents with handouts below the chat pod. So if you want to download your ISTEP list, instructions for the calendar, instructions for the ISTEP program, instructions about the progress page, all of those are down in the file pod. They are things that we gave out at both of the training sessions that we've had so far. But if you weren't able to attend, you can always download those. Just remember that when you download something, if you click on a file to download it, it will take you to a new window. So you want to make sure that you come back to the webinar because we don't want you to miss out on any of this exciting stuff. All right, I'm going to pull over my screen share. And if you need to see this bigger, you can, there's 4 arrows at the top of the pod where you can see my screen. And if you need that to be bigger, all you have to do is click on the 4 arrows to make it go full screen. I just enlarged my screen a little bit so that hopefully it's a little bit easier. So show of hands, raise your hand. Can you see my screen okay? All right, good. Good, good, good. Okay, so let's get rolling with this demonstration. What we want to talk about right now is we're going to talk about the Enrollment Dashboard real quickly. This is where we keep track of numbers. I've been checking some of the things, especially the number here that's appointment has not been scheduled. Now, I happen to be in test right now, but I take a look at these numbers, and I've been talking to some of the CBOs that we have just to make sure that you know how to do what we need you to do to make sure that all of this is moving smoothly. So you can check into the Enrolled Dashboard to check these numbers. Yellow means that we need some work done. Green means we're good. And red means that we've got some things that need some action taken immediately. Most of that is with DHS. So if you need if you need to review the dashboard, we also have a handout for that, and I don't see it in the file pod, so Natasha, if you could maybe add that to the file pod real quick, that would be wonderful. The next thing that we want to do is we want to take a look at how to add appointments for the customers who are going to be assigned to your organization. So what we do to do that is we go to the Resources tab. Now, I'm logged in as a state-level person, so you're going to see a whole lot of agencies when I click. But if you click on the agencies, you should see your agency. I'm going to go to Jane Addams here just for example. Then you would click on your agency, and once we get into the resources, agencies, and your organization, you'll see 3 tabs here. Agency details is information that we're going to be adding about your organization down the road. We have our training programs. This is where you add information or edit information about the training programs, and right now my computer is thinking, so we'll get there with that. By the way, if you have any questions during the course of our webinar, please type them into the chat pod so that we can answer them for you. If you need to change your training program information, you just click on the Training Programs tab, click the Edit, and then you can make any changes to the program that you need to make. Now, when it comes to adding schedule items, you click on the Schedule tab. And the Schedule tab will bring up the place where you can add the appointments that you have available for incoming customers. You can add an appointment site. So if Jane Addams is taking information or taking intake orientation from a number of people from maybe 2 addresses. Maybe they have one at their main office and maybe they have one at a satellite office, which what they have here in test is just exactly that. And they can add an appointment site here by clicking on Add Appointment Site. You put in the address. You put in details about what people may need to bring. We're going to cancel out of this. And then if you need to make changes to that, all you have to do is click on the Edit Site. That is only information about the location itself. What you want to do with the schedule is now click on the Edit Schedule. When this opens up, it shows you all of the dates that are available for your organization at this point in time. We are, at this very moment, only able to take 1 appointment at a time. So if you want to schedule something repetitively, that is coming, but not yet. So as we go to add an appointment, we click on the Add Appointment button. We type in, or just click in the box, just click in the box. You can pick a day. So if I want to go to July, and I want to schedule it for July 6th, I click the day. I can pick the time. So if I want to do it at 1 o'clock p.m., it's p.m. If I click on the p.m., it'll toggle to a.m., so you want to make sure that you've got the right time period of the day showing. Click out of the box, and then it will automatically give you an hour time frame. Otherwise, if you want it to only be 45 minutes, you would click on the end time. It's not letting me click and show you what I want to do, but here we go. All right. So then you would just add your appointment. You would select the number of openings that you have available. So if you're going to do a group session, you would click the number of people for the group that are available, and then you add the appointment. What that does here now is it shows on July 6th, I've got room for 10 people to come into a group orientation. That would then allow somebody on the DHS side to pick from one of these time frames. All right. That's the quick and easy way to add appointments. What we would love for you to do is we're having a hard time making sure that DHS is getting enough appointments available. So what we would appreciate you all doing is putting in calendar dates for, at minimum, the next 2 weeks. If you can have the ability to do this and you know your calendar, maybe it's a repetitive calendar, put it in for as long as you know, but we would like a minimum of 2 weeks worth of appointments available by the close of business tomorrow. So hopefully that's something that you can do. We will be sending out a little notice about this as well for those of you who were not able to join us on the webinar. We'll send out an email about that with the instructions. So if you're, David has offered, if you're having problems getting your appointment set up, you can give him a call or send him an email, and he will be able to help you. Great, Margaret. You're really proactive. She's got her appointment set up through the end of September. That's excellent. Okay, next thing that we want to look at is the progress page for a customer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the Enrolled Dashboard, and I'm going to click on a progress page here. I'm going to actually click on somebody that has not been scheduled for an appointment. So I'm going to click on one of these folks. I was just in Jane Addams, right? So let's see if Jane Addams, oh, I don't have anybody for Jane Addams. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Homework Hangout for FBBT. I'm going to click on the progress page. Now, if DHS did not schedule an appointment, you can go in and help this person by scheduling it. And right here we have a Leslie Bates appointment, which we're working with the homework hangout. So I'm not quite sure how we got Leslie Bates' location name in here. We were playing with tests, so there is a lot of things that can happen. So what I can now do is I can set this appointment for that client. Hopefully all of the DHS offices take care of that, and we don't have to be doing this on the CBO side. So that's one thing here, but you can look and see there are 5 appointments available. Only 1 has been scheduled. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this appointment here. So that's on the progress page. And once the person has their appointment set, we can also remove it down the road. So in the event that somebody gets sick or can't be there for the orientation on the staff side, you can change this appointment. And then just as a reminder, you want to make sure that your primary contact for this organization is showing up. It is automatically supposed to go from assignment when the name is associated with the training program. It's automatically supposed to show up. But just in the event that perhaps Sally was originally responsible for that program and now Mary's responsible for that program, you can change the name in here in the CBO contact. Once you have made that change, you want to click Update. Once the person has their 2151 uploaded, that means that they can then be enrolled. So once their file is uploaded, then you go down and scroll to the enrolled and you update that. And if you need to make any case notes of any kind, you can scroll to the top and make all of those notes in the case notes. So if maybe somebody has a scheduled vacation, for example, and they can't start, you would want to case note all of that stuff. So let's take a look. And all right, so Christine says that the appointments are scheduled through the end of June. Great. This calendar is only for initial appointments right now. Yes, that's correct. And we have David is typing right now, so we'll see what David has to say. If you have any other questions, we'll be happy to answer those for you, so please type those in. Let me double check what else. Oh, the ISTEP. I'm going to make sure I was covering everything that is on our agenda today. So on the ISTEP, we want to take a look. And in the ISTEP, we have a place where you can keep track of what's in this person's plan to address personal development, their career planning, and then academic and technical skills. Let me get into the dashboard to find somebody who actually probably has some information added into them. We'll get somebody from the enrolled status. Let me click around here. We've got Mary Blige. We're going to take a look and see what Mary's got going on. So on her timeline, it shows that she has some credentials. All of the information from the goals is pulled from their application. We have timeline checklist. This is pulling from your personal development tab, the career planning tab, the academic tab, and then we have workplace skills coming, but not there yet.
Hey,
yes,
hey,
go ahead. Yes.
One of the things that came up in the Springfield training was next to career planning and academic technical skills, and this is on test. It's not on production yet, so it will probably be out there tomorrow. Can you click on, does that person have anything?
No.
No? Okay. Well,
they have academic
that one
work.
does. Okay. So we have one of the comments was to be able to put, so they can see all of their steps right there within the timeline. And so they're there, again, as with always, we're going to keep releasing, updates as we move forward. But so some of the other things I just requested from the programmers is to, add in a few more details. If you hover over the info bubble on those steps, or click on it, I can't remember.
I think I have to click. It's not coming. Oh, there it is.
There it is. Yeah. So, you can see the details of each of those steps. And so I just had asked the programmers, underneath the start and end dates, if they could, kind of put, the status of if it's open, successful completion. And so I guess the thought with this is that, they can go into each of the steps, the sections, and get, the details and all that kind of good stuff. But one of the things that we want to do is to be able to provide a printer-friendly version of this. And so the printer-friendly version, of all the steps, isn't available yet, but we're moving in that direction. Anyway, since we're on test and it's out there, I just thought I would have you show that to them.
Yay! That's a cool little feature that's coming up.
Yep.
Underneath the plan update history, we have everything that's happened on this person's plan right now. If you've removed something, so right here it says next step removed, next step added, and academic skill change status. So you can see a linear progression of what's been going on with this person. And then if we go to personal development, this is where you find out here what their timeline is, whether they're on track or off track. We find out, this is for the potential barriers, what kind of issues may they have with financial, and we show what their options would be when we look at no child care. Is it the cost or is it the lack for children with disabilities? So then you update their barriers. You recommend next steps. If you need to find services, you can take a look at the Illinois WorkNet Service Finder. We've got a great tool on Illinois WorkNet that's available for you to use. And then the following services, you can add a referral. These can be referrals to other social service agencies. Maybe it's a clothing, a place for clothing where they can get business-related clothing. Or maybe it's a referral to child care that is handled by with assistance for the person. Maybe it's to a car dealership that does low-cost repairs for people who are in need. So this is all something that you can just add, put the provider name, what it is. We may need to add just a general item in here for supportive services, what the type of referral is, date, and referral details. And then you add the referral to the system itself, and it will show up on the person's profile. The next step that we have is career planning. Here is where we need some help from you guys. We need the information for the career planning tool, the timeline status, and the review information and goals. The goals come from their application. The timeline is on track or off track. But under the additional steps, we talked about this in Chicago at the training session, and I'm sure Natasha talked about it in Springfield as well. But under these steps, we want to make this easy for you guys. So if you have a particular step that needs to be added, we need the title, we need a description of it, we need to know whether it is staff-assisted, self-service, or what's the third option, Natasha?
Right now it's just staff-assisted or self-service.
Okay, all right. And then we need to know if it is associated with an IWDS service name, and that would be career planning, workshops, and initial assessment. Those are the major areas you can see here on the screen.
And if you're not familiar with IWDS, then don't worry about it. We'll go ahead and do that alignment here, so don't worry about it. But one of the other big things we need to know is if it can be, if upon successful completion of that particular step, does it result in, or can it result in earning a credential? And then also, if you're in the lower left-hand corner in the download files, there's the EPIC ISTEP list. One of the requests was from the Springfield training was to have a listing of those steps, and so that's available. And I broke it out so that you can have the listing of the steps, but then I also put the Illinois WorkNet resource link in a column. So if you're going through and you're identifying a step, so like the title of it is just like a super short, statement of what the step is. The description is just a slightly longer description of what the step is. And we'll put the link to, whenever possible, Illinois WorkNet resources. So if you have a specific Illinois WorkNet resource that you would like us to include in that description, then please, include it in that spreadsheet. There's a column there, so you can add that in there. And if you don't provide one, then it's not that big of a deal. We'll go ahead and see if we have something in WorkNet, and if we don't, then we can work on adding something in WorkNet if needed. And
I'm opening it up right now.
Yeah, so
well, we'll
anyway.
go back. We'll go back when it comes up. I'll pull it up in here.
Okay.
All right. So then, so that's how you can add things that you use on a regular basis. And you never know, there may be something that you do on a regular basis that another organization might find very useful. And why reinvent the wheel? You might find something that is very useful for all of your customers. Then we go to academic and technical skills. Same issue here is we need to make sure that we've got the right academic and technical skills available for all of our customers that are working, because we want them to be successful. So we have our on-track, off-track. We have a review of what their NOCD scores were, what their highest level of achievement was, according to their application. That's the highest level according to their application. Then we have the recommended next steps. So if you have, just like we talked about with the career planning, if you have any specific steps that you need added, this is just in a tiny bit different format, but we have improve your English language skills. And then we have the description. We have whether or not it is staff-assisted or self-assisted. What is the proficiency? And like Natasha said, we will align it with the IWDS proficiencies. Will it result in a credential? And like this one says, yes, credential is earned upon successful completion. These are no. Then we have any notes associated, what the status is for whether it's completed or not. And if you want to, if you've added this to a person's profile, so this is this on Mary Blige's profile? Yes, we're on Mary Blige, and we've added improve English language skills. If I want to say that, yes, she has completed it, I click on Edit, and it says my options are not started, open, successful completion. I can put the date. I can put a copy of the credential where the credential source is, or I can pick diploma, certificate, degree, graduation list, written verification of transcript, credential type, what was it, what is it, when did they attain it, what was the institution, what's the description, the start date, the due date, and was it recommended or required. And if you want, who can confirm this step is complete? Would it be the career planner or partner only? Would it be the customer or career planner and partner?
Yeah, to start out with we're going to default to just the career planner and partner only. And what we talked about in the Springfield training is that, we'd like to expand it out or we plan on expanding it out so that, if there's certain steps that the customer can indicate that they've completed, then we'll go that route. But with this ISTEP, what we're really doing is, starting out, getting everybody's toes wet, starting to use it, see what functionality that needs to be built into this. And so really you think of this as an opportunity to co-engineer this as we're moving forward, and think of it as a bigger picture. This is bigger than just EPIC and our special programs. What the feedback that you give us is building a bank of steps and information and tools that will be used for the bigger picture WorkNet. And so we will have the ISTEP that will be available for all Illinois WorkNet partners. So above and beyond the EPIC program, this is something that, if you choose, you could use this with your customers in the future in regular WorkNet outside of the EPIC program. So we really do appreciate, any feedback and, what do we need, what's really useful, what would be more useful, and think of it as, co-engineering this as we're moving forward. So you'll see some features in here that we started it with, and then we're kind of like, okay, let's start out slow, and then continue to build onto it as we really determine what our CBOs and partners need.
Great point. Great point. Because we don't know everything, and we're not out in the field with you guys, so it's great if we can get your input. The optional last little block here is dollar value of services, and this is just kind of so if you think about it, maybe an ESL test is $50, and we've got that for future reference. When we're done, we click and save it, and that becomes a part of the person's plan. Last but not least, we have highlights and notes. What's going on here is this is a place where all of the actions and case notes that happen with this person show up. And I don't have any case notes or files to show you because all of these are zeros. So I apologize for that. But if you were to click on it, this is where you could kind of track somebody's progress and communications with all of the other people, so that if you are writing a case note on the top of this particular section, let me just type one in here so that we've got something. Here we can send it as an Illinois WorkNet message. We can send it as a message in an email. We can save it as a case note without sending a message. We can send it to the customer, the DHS primary contact, the review team, and the CBO primary contact. So maybe I happen to be putting in a case note that I want to draw your attention to because I've been checking around and I see an anomaly or something. So I can send it to all of these people, and I add this case note. Okay, computer, work. So I add the case note, and now it will show up if I click on the case notes here, and it will, oh, I clicked it twice, oh goodness. I have to be more patient. And then it will show up here under personal development. There's files that are attached or case notes that are attached. And then I can click on this, and it will tell me who sent the case note, what it was titled about, and when it was sent. All right, so that's kind of it in a nutshell. Let me pull this down here quickly just to make sure that I covered everything. And
there were a couple things that came up with our last DHS meeting, and one of those is that we do have sites that are making reverse referrals to the program, so that is awesome. We do appreciate that. One of the things we just have to be very, very careful about is that when we do make the reverse referral back to the DHS office, we make sure that they're ABODs and not TANF people. So I believe they're, able-bodied adults without dependents,
Right.
and then between the ages of 18 and 49, so, and not exempt. So I know you may not know all the specific details of, their exemptions and all that kind of good stuff, but if you can make sure that they're not TANF recipients, then that would be really good.
Very good. All right, and then here we have the request for the ISTEP steps. You can send those to Epic at Illinois. I got to type it right. worknet.com. So please make sure that if you've got some information that you want added to make your life easier, you can do that. All right, do we have any other questions? We want to try to keep this as close to on time as possible. I don't see anybody typing right now, do you?
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. If you got in late and you didn't get a chance to check in, please do so. And we'll talk to everybody next week. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.